Up to tossing grenade the windmills. Windmills.
So I announced last week that I was going to be releasing a novel soon called Grenade Man vs. the Zombies. And I also explained that I'm currently having my fifth novel edited by Fiona Skye. And she's actually been doing such a good job at the editing that I've decided that I'm going to wait to release Grenade Man vs. the Zombies, even though it's had a really good edit job done by my stepdad, Skip Huffman. But quite frankly, I would rather have her take a crack at editing it. So the first novel you see from me is likely going to actually be Forever West, which is actually my best novel. Although you're certainly hearing the novel that I co-wrote with Ken Leitner. At any rate, I am now going to start reading chapter 35 of Precyber by T.C. Ricks and Ken Leitner. Ezekiel Norn woke up that morning feeling great. Bad news waited for him at the office, but he was blissfully ignorant of that right now. He sat up on his memory foam mattress and placed his feet down on his polished bamboo flooring. His black silk sheets slid off him as he rose and settled over the nude girl he had hired to sleep with him the night before. He had kept her working late into the night, so he decided to let her sleep a little longer. Of course, he could not resist pulling the sheet down to get one last look at her perfect form. Slightly aroused, he walked across his expensive penthouse bedroom to his equally spacious walk in the shower. Cold shower, he said to the wall, and 35 expertly placed water jets sprang to life and doused him with crystal clear water. He reached for the soap and cleaned last night's activities away. Afterwards, he pulled out a fresh terry robe his personal butler had left out for him each morning and walked back to the bedroom. Set bedroom window transparency to 0, he stated, and the previously dark far wall turned clear. It revealed a breathtaking view of the Atlanta city skyline. From 80 stories above the ground, Ezekiel could see the entire north half of the city. His eyes followed the snaking line of Interstate 85 to Highway 400 Junction. Another cluster of skyscrapers there marked Buckhead, where he had gone to arrange last night's entertainment. The fresh light and chill from having no sheets woke the upscale hooker from her sleep. Ezekiel tried to remember her name, but decided it hardly mattered. She was a true professional, though. She turned to him and smiled seductively. Despite the cold shower, Ezekiel let his nether regions dictate his morning schedule. An hour later, Ezekiel had shown what's-her-name to the door, showered again, and dressed for work. While Ezekiel dressed casually, his tennis shoes, fashionable jeans, and polo shirt still cost more than your average businessman spent on their professional clothing. Even so, Ezekiel decided his 6-week-old tennis shoes had lost their bounce and used his PCA to email his butler and request a fresh pair. With a broad smile, Ezekiel entered the elevator and rode down 3 floors to his executive office. The intervening floors contained a banquet hall, the executive gym, and other perks of wealth. It was 11 a.m., far later than he liked to start work, but not unusual for him in the last year. Ezekiel had reached all his goals. His companies ran like well-oiled machines that printed money. He had decided last year that it was time to enjoy his success a little, at least until he thought of some new thing to conquer. The elevator doors opened to the executive offices of Aquanoware conglomerates. ANC, as the staff called it, was the umbrella corporation that owned his many holdings. Most of those were game companies, but he had originally started with a security firm. The receptionist smiled and said, "Good morning, Mr. Norn." He walked back to his own offices and past his personal assistant's desk to check in. "Good morning, Mr. Norn. I have an urgent message for you. The CEO of MCE is requesting a conference call. Apparently, they've been hacked. Can you take a call before lunch?" Ezekiel hated taking these calls. The guy he had hired for MCE was definitely not the best manager in a crisis. However, MCE raked in ridiculous profits, so Ezekiel had put up with him. "Why don't you get Tom on the phone now? Let's deal with this problem thing first." "Yes, sir," replied his assistant. "I'll be in my office. Put it through once you get him online." Ezekiel walked past, waved his electronic passkey over the sensor, and entered his corporate office. He walked over the bearskin rug and sat down behind his 8-foot-long mahogany desk. Behind him hung a wolf pelt that he had collected hunting with the governor of Alaska. The wall in front was solid LCD and currently showed a live view of the Atlanta Aquarium whale tank. "News, gaming," Ezekiel stated, and the aquarium video 20-something flat-bellied news reporter talking about Timothy Heath winning $32 million from Marauder's Crag. The news anchor wore a tight-cropped T-shirt with a picture of Che Guevara and a short patent skirt that seemed very out of place next to the young Timothy Heath. Ezekiel grew annoyed as the news bimbo continued to smile and gush over the fact that Ezekiel might well lose $32 million that morning. "Miss Prescott, get my legal team up here immediately," Ezekiel shouted as the great mood he had started that morning faded away quickly. "Yes, sir, and Tom Smithson is on video feed 5, replied Miss Prescott. Truthfully, Ezekiel had hired Miss Prescott primarily for her looks. However, up until now he had refrained so far from hitting on her, because it turned out that she was really good at her job. Today, she wore a small white blouse which just failed to reach down to her short schoolgirl skirt. A short feminine tie accented the look, but her black calf-high boots made all of that look very adult. Ezekiel was weakening, and he knew he would wake up with her sooner or later. He pulled himself back and switched the wall LCD to video panel 5. "Tom, tell me what's going down here. Did we just lose $32 million somehow?" A tall, fit man dressed in a crisp white shirt and khaki dockers looked back on the panel. He had the kind of sparse hair that screamed recent replacement surgery. He also looked scared. "Mr. Norn, someone broke into our development office last night and hacked the game. They sent out around 3,000 worth of microtransaction equipment to each and every player on the database, even the ones without active accounts. Then somehow they were re-enabled the contest we had at release. Once the contest re-enabled, the server sent out the press releases. The hackers also sent out the following email. A window appeared on the bottom right of the LCD display, showing a copy of the email Clark had sent. Dear player, the Revolution is sending you some free equipment in the hope that you can find the solution to this somewhat rigged game. We hope you enjoy it. On the final battle, keep a revived potion slotted and drink those healing potions as fast as the game allows. You'll die a few times, but the revived potions should keep that from being a problem. Just wear the armor we sent you so you can carry enough potions to finish. Good luck, Kilroy." The letter was sent from some of our developer's desk at 2 a.m. this morning. The developer was home asleep. His wife and family vouched for him. We believe he left his password somewhere in his desk for the intruders to find. Tom Smithson stopped talking and waited for Ezekiel to respond. Ezekiel, however, needed a little time to think. He turned and sat down at his desk while Tom stared, pacing and nervously scratching at his hair. After about 10 minutes, Miss Prescott chimed in to announce that the legal team was waiting outside. Ezekiel snapped to attention. "Yeah, the legal team. Look, Tom, I need you to tell the lawyers everything you told me. I'm going to let them handle the prize money. I think we can avoid paying under the circumstances. Miss Prescott, send legal to conference room 1 and connect them with Mr. Smithson. Thank you. All right, Tom. We'll handle the legal thing up here. I want you to fix your security and find out who did this to us. Can you handle that?" Tom Smithson groveled back. "Yes, sir. Yes, we can do that. Thank you, Mr. Norn. Thank you for helping us on this one. I promise it won't happen again." Ezekiel clicked on his mouse, and the LCD panel went to the aquarium again. He decided to check a website he knew all too well. The Revolution used it for PR purposes. A PR firm hosted it legitimately. They posted messages and videos from anonymous sources, but were careful to never post anything that might cause legal trouble. News of the $32 million reward was all over the page. Clearly, the Revolution had decided to take credit for this one. He clicked on a sound link titled Hero of Marauder's Crag. It was a drama recording of a man reuniting with an old flame. Apparently, she had thought he was dead, and relieved to hear his voice. However, Ezekiel noted a distinct lack of romantic interest in her voice. Good. Two things occurred to Ezekiel after listening. Predictably, the girl's voice attracted him greatly. There were obvious reasons for that. Secondly, he guessed the man's voice was the person who broke into his office building and tried to steal $32 million. Whoever he was supposed to be dead. He would need to find out more about this guy as well. Ezekiel smiled as he realized he could pursue both his interests simultaneously. He had certain connections with the underground. After all, he'd started it.
This has been the Tossing Grenades at Windmills podcast. I'm Thomas Ricks. Music by Melanie Ricks. Voices by Skip Huffman and Josie Bergen-Lawson. Copyright 2012.
Kenneth Leitner
And Red Anvil Amalgamated.
to fight the forces of evil.